Welcome everybody, it's Rev. We are going to do a very quick um, Sunday morning tournament report. Um, I had a Edison locals and decided to try out Dragon Turbo. I went 2-1, so we switched our local schedule a little bit. So we are now doing Edison for the next few months, once a month, which is awesome. It was once every 2 months, and we're doing Goat once a month, which is great. And then we're also weaving in some Tengu, so I might have to pick up Tengu just because the locals I go to, I just like the atmosphere there, and I don't like get a feeling that like there's cheaters or anything. So I really enjoy it. So I might have to just pick up another format. But um, this is what I brought. With the schedule change, we moved the tournaments a little bit earlier in the day to 3:30. So I think the schedule change threw a lot of people off. So we only had 4 people show up, including myself. So we just did a round robin until we played everyone. First place got 25 bucks store credit, and then anyone that went 2-1 got 15. So I got a 15 store credit this time. And just wanted to have a quick recap of my matches and some of the thoughts on the deck and its future moving forward, and some things that I think I want to try out. I won't say that are being done wrong just because I don't know yet, but I think there are a few things that I don't know. Like there are a few things that jump out to me based on like the matches that I played. Um, As a reminder, if you do enjoy Goat and Edison content, maybe even Tengu in the future, subscribing or sharing the videos or liking is always appreciated. So, uh, round one, um, I played zombies, instant zombies, and um, game one I did open Future Fusion, which is, or I don't think I opened it actually. I think I drew it turn two, and then it helped me thin my deck out enough um, and add blue eyes to hand and recur stuff with magical stone. I think I like magical stone like for a trade in, and had I believe 5 discards for rejuve. And what essentially ended up happening is I built a rejuve hand of like really good shit, and then I um, built a board the next turn of a bunch of red meds and promptly attacked into a Spirit Reaper. Uh, and then uh, was thinking of like what my outs were, and luckily did not fill my board. So I was able to the next turn, and this is a guy at the locals. He talks a little shit, but like in good fun. He was like, "Have fun dealing with that." And I was like, "You little motherfucker." And I then next turn, I ordered my blue attacks and I crashed into something and was able to essentially make a armory arm, attach it to his Reaper, and then just OTK him the following turn. Um, but it did require some planning. I'm trying to think exactly what the line was. I think I had to like bring out a stone preemptively, and then I think I had an instant fusion in hand. Yeah, that was it. Um, and then I think I like there was something I had to out on my own board to like make room for that. Because I had I think like 2 red eyes, a blue eyes, and maybe couldn't have been a Drago, uh, because it was Army Arm that I brought out. But pardon me, I'm drinking my morning kofifi. Um, yeah, so that's round one, game one. I think pretty straightforward. I drew, I think slightly above average. My deck just got in motion, and he wasn't able to apply enough pressure, and I drew like I don't know, almost my whole deck within the first 3 turns of the game. Um, Game two, I basically was fending off a Spirit Reaper for several turns in a row, and he got, I believe, 2 picks off of it. One of them being my Lightning Vortex, which I drew off of something that he removed. I think he removed like a Vortex Trooper or something, and then I drew into it, and then he pitched this. Um, and then I had, luckily, another Vortex later on to clear, and I think I heavied him for 3. And basically, another thing that I kind of want to talk about is I think, correct way to play this deck is as opposed to kind of just sitting back and like doing turbo things and building like a perfect OTK hand for like 9 or 10,000 damage. What I found a lot more effective is like doing waves of like terrifying dragon boards. So like you can, let's just say, like clear their back row with heavy or something, and then you bring out like a red med and a blue eyes or like a Drago or like maybe something else in addition to that. Like if you had to play with debris and Brio, um, and then you make like a terrifying board that's like I don't know 5,000 damage or something, and like clear a bunch of their stuff and go plus. And then after that, like you have like very few cards. Then you just rejuve and refill, and then you just do it again. Um, and I found that works a lot better, and it makes the deck a lot more consistent when you play with that because like if you just wait for your like ultimate OTK hand where like you have a 99.9% chance of guaranteeing like lethal next turn, you just aren't able to pull that off enough. Whereas if you kind of just play like the mid-range game and you like OTK them over 2 to 3 turns and you're up like 8 cards on them because of rejuve bullshit, then it's a lot easier to win that way. I mean, like they still have to out your board. Uh, you still are getting pluses with like red med every turn. You can lock them out with like Drago. Um, so you still have like crazy like extra deck access with like Brio to like just reset them a turn, like with tempo. So then you can like do it all again with Pot of Avarice. So I think like playing in waves, like unless you just happen to draw like a nuts hand and you know you're going to be able to like OTK them next turn, is a much better way to play this deck. Like I don't think this is an OTK deck. I think it is a combo deck, but um, it seems the best way to play it for me so far is like in multiple waves of dragons, and then like weaving in a rejuve or two to just refill. All right, so won that 2-0. Next round, I played Lightsworns. Um, game one, um, I didn't draw particularly well. The game was just able to be slowed down enough with a defense position Debris Dragon where I got like basically 2 draw phases, and then like kind of once you hit a critical mass of like stones and consonants or like trade in and blue eyes, then you can kind of like pop off, which I did, and then I just basically did that line where I OTK'd him over 2 turns. Um, the issue with this game is it was a very strange Lightsworn build, so he actually had a lot of traps to interrupt me, and they were like actually good traps. Like I think he was on. I saw Compulse like multiple times in game one, so he was either on like 2 of them or 3 because I saw 2. And he interrupted me in the middle of like a Brio play. Because basically went Debris, bring out Whitestone, and then instant fusion for Ojamanite, and was like planning on a play to like bounce his stuff and then refill with Rejuve because I had a shit ton of dead dragons in my hand, and if I could just build like a kind of scary board and then go like +8, then I'd be fine. But he interrupted it at the correct time with a Compulse, which was very annoying. Then he did it again. Um, So that was kind of bad. So I won that one, and then game two, very similar things happened, except he basically set me back on normal summons twice, um, and then he built like a very terrifying Lightsworn board with wolves, and I think he had a Lumina that was bringing stuff back, and he basically just killed me very quickly. Um, and like it, I don't, I haven't, I think this player's kind of newer to the format, but um, he actually played it like better than I was expecting. Like he played kind of well. Like he was doing like weird stuff. I won't say weird stuff, but like stuff that like newer players wouldn't typically do. Like turn one, he just normaled honest and like poked me with it. And I know that sounds like a small thing, but like I feel like bad players like wouldn't know to like just go for that damage and then bounce it, and they'd probably like set something and play too passively. I don't know, but like he was doing a few things where it like made me feel like he had either matchup experience or like a lot more game experience than I had suspected just because I haven't seen him before. Or I've seen him. I saw him in the last Edison tournament, and just didn't know how good he was because I didn't play him. Um, so yeah, I lost that. And then game three, um, I kind of drew another mid hand, but was able to slow the game down enough. And this game, I actually did side in one decree, just because he actually had a bunch of traps in game two. So I sided that in, was able to stick the decree, and that helped shut off like potentially things like Trag, even though I don't think he was on Trag. And we got into this weird situation where he early game dropped a Gores on me, and I had a Lightning Vortex to destroy it. He was able to uh, he brought back Gores, I think, correctly to prevent an OTK with Monster Reincarnation. And then I had to make like kind of an awkward play where I like just was able to then subsequently bounce it with Brio to like clear it for the next turn. Um, and then just kind of won the game from there. I mean, I drew a lot with Rejuve. A recurring theme this tournament like is if you see Rejuve, um, and you have like even just a handful of discards, like it's pretty hard to lose. If you don't see Rejuve, your deck just doesn't really do anything because like you're forced into situations where you just like summon a red med raw and like a blue eyes, and then you just like try to cheese like with a 2-turn lethal, and that very very frequently will not work. Um, so that was round two. Round three, I played Lightsworn again. So um, this player like he always brings Lightsworn, and like every time I play him, he's always milling wolves, man. It's really frustrating. So game one, he goes first. I like enter my draw phase, and he's like draw phase, and I'm like sure, and he like flips dust shoot and rips one of my conversions for a discard, and it kind of bricked my hand. I think it was a blue eyes and a trade in, and then the rest of my hand was just like debris, like a pot of avarice and like nothing. So I was like okay. So I was able to draw a red med, and I was forced into a situation where I just basically, I think, summoned a debris with nothing in grave, and then it just had to make a red med desperation play, and it didn't work. He just ran me over. He milled a wolf as well. And then game two, I go first, of course, and I have a few things in my hand. So I have I don't believe it was a reckless greed, but I had um, a white stone and a consonance, um, and a vortex trooper, and I held the consonants and vortex, or I held the consonants in Whitestone for that one turn, and then set the vortex trooper. Um, and this is kind of one of the points I want to make. Like I see a lot of people just like rip their discard spells very quickly, like turn one with no follow up to it, like no rejuve, or they have just like one discard, and I feel like it's better to like save that for like one turn, like maybe two, just because like if you see an additional card in this deck and everything gets connected, like then you can actually pop off. Um, and like sometimes I see people, they'll just like rip it and they just happen to draw the trade in like conversion, and it like then like gets your deck in motion. But I think like just seeing one or two extra cards before you start discarding stuff and trying to go off is correct. Uh, the reason I'm saying this is that play did get me punished. So what he did was summon an Aaron, sent the trooper back to my deck, and then subsequently dust shooted me again in my draw phase, and then totally bricked me. And I just couldn't do anything. I made another like desperation red med play. He answered it, like with an honest, and I just lost. There wasn't really much to it. Um, so a few things that I want to talk about. A lot of people have been saying two troopers too much. I may be coming around to that. The thing is, this card's really good. Um, the thing that I struggle with is it's kind of rare to open Trooper and then also open like two cards that you definitely want to shuffle back in. The thing that's a lot more common is that you open Vortex Trooper and you have like one card that's going to be dead for a while, and like the rest of your hand like just needs one other card to get connected. So you're forced into situations where you can like be forced to shuffle in like one card that like you kind of want in your hand a lot of the time. I think setting it turn one is good, but if you're just going to be setting it turn one, is Card Trooper better? Probably not, but I mean at least you can like swing over stuff. And I guess milling can be good, just because you can get your grave set up for like Avarice, Magical Stone. You can mill a White Stone. So I'm really not sure yet, but two may be proving to be a little bit too much. Um, the other thing is not necessarily about the build, but siding strategy, which is it's very common, like with Dragon Turbo, to almost always side out 3 Reckless Greed for like whatever it is. I mean, depending on the matchup, like some trap heavy stuff, like you're gonna side in decrees, especially if you're going first. Um, and like versus hamster Reiko Kai's decks, like the hamster, the mind control, maybe a Primet. But I think what's been happening with a lot of Dragon Turbo players, myself included, is I think we might just be oversiding. Um, I don't know if you can side out Reckless Greed in most matchups. Um, this card's so good, and it gets your deck in motion because a really, really good play a lot of the time is like even if you open a decent hand and you have like Consonance plus Stone, or like you have a Blue Eyes plus Trade-in or something, and a Reckless Greed, you just set the Reckless Greed, you wait till the next turn, then you hit your draw phase, and then you activate your discard spells, and then you go Reckless to get even deeper. And the amount of times when you do that where your whole deck just is able to vomit out like everything and then you rejuve again, seeing that 2 extra cards is really, really important. So Reckless seems like a very, very important part of the engine to me. Let me take another sip of this coffee. So what I'm thinking is I just feel like in a lot of siding situations, I'm not sure you can really ever side more than like 3 to 4 cards in this deck. Like it's just too tight. Like these are side outable, but I really like having one honestly, just for the Black Rose play, where you just summon this and like bring that back this and blow up their board with a Black Rose. Um, the second Magical Stone Excavation comes out almost all the time because if you get that crowed, you just lose. But like outside of like some of those cards, like maybe Trag can get sided out in certain matchups, but it's more or less the only defense that you have. Um, you can side out in Instant Fusion if you're expecting lots of oppression. But like the way I see it is Reckless Greed is a card that gets your deck moving to do unfair things quicker, and it's not weak to any popular side cards that are coming in against you. So like I'm wondering moving forward if like when you start side decking, like if you just side out like maybe these two, like maybe a Magical Stone and like maybe an Upstart, and like that's just like uh, that's just it. Like, and you just never side anything else. Because and maybe like an instant fusion too. I'm trying to look. So that's like that's about 4 cards, maybe 5, depending on how deep you want to go. But even that seems like a lot. Like if you just side 3 cards in and you like maybe kick out an upstart, I think it's better than kicking out the reckless greed. The only thing to say about that is I would say Reckless Greed is probably worse. Well, not probably, it's definitely worse going second. So I think there's like maybe some going first versus going second theory we like could do as Dragon Turbo players. Um, and I also think like just very, very minor siding plans are better than just like revamping your whole engine. Um, just because when you side out 3 Reckless and then you bring in like 5 cards and like you keep the rest of this engine intact, like side out like a Magical Stone, the deck just gets considerably more bricky. So I think especially going first, I think it might just be correct to keep in 3 Reckless. And I think I'm gonna have to test that more to see if that's the case. But uh, like I would very, very quickly side out like going first 2 Vortex Troopers before siding out 3 Reckless. And then I'd side out an Upstart probably before the 3 Reckless as well, and then almost always siding out a Magical Stone just because um, quite poor post side. Um, because the issue with Reckless is you can't just, I mean, I guess you could, but you don't really just want to side one out because like it's 3 or none pretty much. Like you can't, it's not flexible. Like Upstart, like you can flex them out quite easily, and your engine still remains intact. In fact, it probably makes it so you can OTK a lot more frequently. So those are some of my thoughts on siding. Let me know if you're a Dragon Turbo player what you think about that, and if you think siding out Reckless is hurting us more than it's helping us, because I just get that feeling. Um, and I know Upstart you can just jam the turn you draw it, but Reckless is just busted. I mean, if you stack Reckless, you just win. If you activate Reckless, you usually just win if you have a conversion with a discard. Um, so I really, really like the card, and I'm not sure it's correct to be citing it out as frequently as I have been, and other Dragon Turbo players have been as well. So those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm out.